Listener discretion is advised.
No say, got to get
okay.
my boat bones. Goat bones.
Your goat bones.
The boat gones.
The boat gones.
Your boat gones.
So K-pop is short for Korean popular music and is a genre of music originating in South Korea, not to be confused with North Korea. This has nothing to do with
North Korea has yet to hit the pop music scene, but
They haven't embraced
it could happen.
yet.
They also are likely not listening to this podcast.
No, but just to be clear, we're talking about Korea, but like
South
not
Korea.
North
Right.
Korea. So this music has a million different influences from R&B, gospel, jazz, hip hop, Caribbean dance hall,
Wow.
salsa, folk, country, electronic dance, and classical music, in addition to traditional Korean music. So this genre, as far as like influences, is all over the fucking place.
They're just like, whatever, we're going to take what works.
We're going to try it. Try it all.
You're going to take what
Light it
works,
up like
basically.
dynamite.
Yes.
Oh.
It's smooth like butter.
Mm-hmm.
So this music is described as pop on crack, or it's very optimistic. It's fun. It's energetic. It's also really hard to describe if you've never heard it. So here is how NPR puts it.
Amazing. Can't
K-pop.
wait for this.
K-pop is, quote, a maximalist dreamland full of color, high concept performances and videos, a plethora of performers, and unrivaled choreography. If Top 10 in America wanted solo singers so soft every breath was caught on mic over a mid-tempo chorus, a la Billie Eilish, that was my editorializing.
Okay.
K-pop appeared to offer a genreless alternative. Constant stimulation, euphoria delivered in 8 to 10 melodies, and fantastical harmonies in a single track.
So, like, basically, if, like, Backstreet Boys merged with, like, the board game Candyland.
Every genre
Yes.
in existence.
That is a wonderful...
Thank you.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Yeah, totally.
So while I was writing my notes, I was watching a Netflix episode of the show Explained, if you've ever heard of it. It's like short little 20-minute episodes of just various topics explained by
Okay, well,
professionals
I've never
and
heard of
experts
that.
and blah, blah, blah.
And it sounds amazing, and I'm going to start
so
watching that.
good. So like I said, very short episodes. There's like billionaires and the female orgasm and cryptocurrency.
Well,
and,
I need that explained for sure.
right. And
The
one
orgasm.
The
one
orgasm.
of these, I knew what you meant.
I
one of
get
these
Bitcoin.
episodes,
I don't get my bits.
one of these episodes is on K-pop. So
Cool.
a lot of my notes are from this episode. Like kind of like what Kenyon alluded to, there's quite a bit of overlap between how K-pop operates as a system and how boy bands in the US evolved and sort of therefore devolved.
In the
yeah,
90s,
like boy band
yeah.
boot camp
Yeah.
for K-pop is next level.
Well, like the origin of boy bands, it all evolved around like the mid 90s also.
And just the like curated personas and image.
The matching outfits.
Yeah.
We'll get to
I'm
all
sure
of
we
this.
will. Yeah.
So if you're interested in this episode of Explained, it aired in season 1. It's like the 5th or 6th episode. It's very
Cool.
interesting.
I'm totally going to check that out. That
Highly
series sounds
recommend
awesome.
the whole series. Yeah. Just short little snippets. It's very consumable. Okay. So back in 1992, a new band called Saoteji and Boys performed on a nationally broadcast TV show in South Korea. But the judges didn't think there was enough melody and gave them poor reviews, actually the lowest reviews of all of the people performing in that specific episode, because it was so drastically unfamiliar to the audience.
Oh, it was like
Okay.
too new.
Too poppy,
was-
not enough ballad.
Well, and I think that the ascension from what that culture was used to compared to what Saoteji brought was like, what the fuck?
Well, I know we
can't-
mentioned this
I
a
can't
million
even
times.
enjoy this. Like,
But
it's
it's
so yeah.
It's like the psychology behind why people with anxiety rewatch the same shows like The Office over and over again. It's like that predictability, and then people get really thrown off when something like totally new comes in. I mean, I know that my anxiety disorder is why I resist like most new trends until it's already been around long enough to just seep into everything around me, and then I'm
then
like,
you're all about
okay,
it.
I'll get on TikTok.
Yeah. But I think
we
that's
all
also just
saw that one coming.
that's also just human nature, you know. That's not just like people with anxiety or whatever. It's just human nature. And when you have a country like Korea, which is so entrenched in tradition and like doing as your elders have done, it was a lot.
It was a big left turn.
Yeah,
It was a leap. So hit songs before this performance were known as quote unquote healthy songs. So these were songs and styles essentially imposed by the government.
Ooh, okay.
It was
Interesting.
heavily censored. I would say not as censored as, for example, North Korea, obviously, or even
Right.
China, but they were designated by they were approved by the government on some level before they were put on like one of 3 sanctioned TV channels.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So these songs and styles, like I said, were imposed by the government. There were a lot of musical variety shows on TV, showing either patriotic music or what they called safe music. So it was extremely like G-rated.
Got it.
Okay. Like folk songs or like
Yeah, like probably folk songs would be more like patriotic, but like the safe music would be like, oh, I love this girl, but I can't touch her. You know,
Palatable, traditional,
very,
gentle
very
music.
1950s sock hop.
Yeah,
very
vibes.
conservative.
Conservative. That's
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So Saoteji signaled a massive change. They wore really odd Western style clothing. They had lots of synchronized, energetic dancing. They were
love.
dramatically different. And if you watch this performance of them on that particular show in 1992, I guess.
Can't wait.
It was 2. Then they performed. But it's like you can see the shock on the judges' faces, and you can also just like tell how fucking weird this whole thing was.
Right.
It's very bizarre.
I love it.
So Saoteji was described accurately, in my opinion, as the Korean New Kids on the Block.
Okay.
This group introduced American hip-hop fashion to Korea, so such as baggy clothing, skiing outfits, and like full-ass winter mittens.
Yeah, I love it. I love
Like,
it.
So like
They look like oven
like
mitts.
like Seth Green Can't Hardly Wait
Yeah.
Yeah.
ensemble.
Yeah, like 80s ski suits
Yeah,
that
but, like-
became just leisure wear fashion.
I love it.
It was like
That's
barely
amazing.
leisure wear.
Well,
It was
right.
like very much sports wear. It was
Yeah,
like
I mean, it
big,
was
like,
barely leisure wear in the 80s either, but people fucking went for it.
I gotta
I love it.
put some pictures of the mittens on the drive because they're like oven mitts.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
just doing all their routines with these big ass like fucking mittens.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I
It's
love
so
it.
Society, like any place, anytime, is so fucking bizarre. And we
I
look
love
back
it.
on now and be like,
Oh.
what the fuck were we thinking?
We
I
went
mean-
back to middle parts.
I'll take off my cat ears now.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
I was trying to differentiate, but you know what? It's what it's. Okay, so their mittens. Also, their songs were made up of controversial lyrics, disrespecting older generations, which was not super
Ooh.
common. So, like, lyrics like, and I'm paraphrasing, but like, our parents made these cages and now we're living in these cages. Like, you know, stuff like that.
Total. A
Yeah.
little angsty. A little bit of
Uh-huh.
Angsty, a little angsty, a little
I
edgy.
love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these were perceived as going against traditional Korean customs. And as much as the adults didn't like it, the kids were like kind of into it.
Yeah.
particularly like the fashion and that shocking cultural element. They were like, oh yeah, this
Teenagers
is off my
gonna
parents.
teen.
Yeah, youth
Teen's gonna
rebellion
teen.
defies like all culture. It just always fucking happens.
It is a form of development.
It's culture is what it is. So a record executive and producer at the time, Lee Soo-man, nailed it, saw this new K-pop style as the next big export, or as he called it, a cultural commodity. So he was like very much ahead of his time. This is in the mid-90s.
Wow.
His entertainment company called SM Entertainment created the boy band HOT or Hot, and this was modeled after oh God, I can never remember how to pronounce this. Saotaiji. Saotaiji. There are lots of similarities between these groups, including their unique style choices, like the fucking mittens.
Cute.
Choreography was also a really big thing. So basically, Soman he produced a formula for what was to be the future of K-pop groups. He there's a specific formula, and he was at the advent of said formula.
Wow.
He was the blimp master.
Right.
He was the blimp master. So in the mid 1990s, Backstreet Blimps.
All right.
All right. In the mid 90s, Asia experienced a big economic drop, and South Korea decided that Lee So-man was right. They could use their music and arts culture as a global commodity. So the Korean government, which had formerly essentially censored modern pop music, was now investing a full 1% of their national budget to promoting
I love it.
their music.
Whoa.
Their pop music.
Wild.
I mean, the French government promotes French pop music and has like all kinds of rules for like how many, what percentage of songs played on the radio in France have to be like
From
France and
Yeah.
in French.
Yeah.
So like a lot of Canadian songs like slip in, but like as long as they're like in the French language, because they didn't want everything to be taken over by like English pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think that was
I like
super
it.
smart. And I feel like in the mid 90s especially, this was very like progressive thinking. And also from a traditional Korean standpoint, where just a few years earlier they were actively censoring
Yeah,
this
it's a big
kind of
turnaround.
music. And now they're
Yeah.
just like, oh, fuck yeah, we got to make some money.
This could
Yeah,
work.
it's a leap forward. Well,
Yeah.
money moves the world.
Well, comparison to the leap forward might not be totally
Yeah.
appropriate. but-
Fuck it. Look at ABBA.
Yeah.
Was basically what they were saying.
Exactly.
Oh, we'll get to ABBA, actually.
Is ABBA the original K-pop band?
We'll get to it, honey.
Sway pop.
Okay.
Sway pop.
Sway pop. Okay, so the Korean government is investing 1% of their national budget to promoting this K-pop music. One of the people in charge of one of the firms responsible for this was a former member of Saotaiji and Boys, and they created much of the withstanding elements of today's K-pop music.
Nice.
So I guess at this time, like mid-late 90s, we weren't using the term K-pop. We're kind of just using like various terms of music originating in Korea, but it
Right.
wasn't its own genre yet.
Yeah, I mean, they started it. There was
Yeah.
a clear
There's a-
beginning.
It's a growth period.
Let's start
Cool.
at the very beginning.
So that ended up being like a $5 billion global industry, $1 billion global industry. And
Yeah.
actually probably more now because that number
Yeah.
was from the Explained episode, which was released in 2018. So I'm sure it's more than that.
Way more. Now it's probably that much per year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think it was annual, but yeah. Within Korea, K-pop groups are called idol groups. IDOL, not
Okay.
like idol.
Yeah.
An entertainment company scouts for individuals with singing and dancing talents and basically throws them together to form an extremely polished performance troupe. So what was that show on MTV that your mom liked?
Making the
Kenyon?
band.
Making the band.
When my mom had her hysterectomy and was looped on pain meds following
it,
her
baby.
surgery.
She loved making the band.
Loved
that.
making the band and literally was brought to actual tears, like sobbing, was so upset because Ashley Angel was homesick for Hawaii. And she was like, he just wants his mom.
I loved Ashley Angel. I bought his CD.
Yeah.
His
my
solo
mom.
his solo
And
album.
I remember, I think I was in like 8th grade and I just was like, wow, I don't know.
What is happening?
I don't know what my mom is going through, but I'm going to go into
It's
my
a
room.
lot.
It's something. It's something.
With something else.
Amazing.
And then she healed and went off the pain meds and didn't care about fucking what was that?
Ashley Angel.
O-Town.
O-Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know.
So this is basically an off-camera
Making the band.
making the band. Yeah.
I love it.
So this process can take years, and we've also discussed this process in our Motown Murders episode. So it's like that factory system of scouting people with talent, various talents.
Who also are really attractive.
Yep.
Who also are attractive, fitting them together in a way that makes sense so that their chemistry vibes, and then here's a band. There you go.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that chemistry is short-lived, and we will get to it.
Oh my God, I was so excited.
Oh, dear.
So in terms of how these bands are made up, there are typically at least 5 members, and they each play a specific role. So we have the leader, the singer, basically the only one who can sing really well. The dance. Also the singer will come with a sub singer, the one who can sing the second best.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we have the dancer, also comes with the one who can dance the second best. The rapper, the youngest one, which in Korea is called the maknae, and the oldest one, which is called the matnae. The center, which is always the one in the middle,
Okay.
which is basically the Amanda, the one with the weird hair.
Yeah.
The visual, so the most attractive one, the Kenyan, and the all-rounders, plural, maybe the ones who can kind of do it all. So it's just very bizarre. Just
So there's some overlap
you
in
fill
the
a
roles.
role.
Oh,
because
there's
it's
totally overlap.
Yeah.
there's totally overlap, but in general, there has to be at least one to fulfill each or most of these roles.
Whereas for boy bands, the roles are a little bit different. There's
the smoke show,
the jock,
the goofy
heartthrob,
one,
exactly. The boy next door,
It's kind of the same thing, except these are a little bit more specific. And I also don't think that there's much of an illusion between K-pop fans and who these K-pop stars sort of represent. I think they understand that these guys or girls are fulfilling specific roles. That doesn't really diminish the magic.
Well,
you know
usually
what I mean?
fans are way more with it than the industry will give them credit for. You know?
I think so. Yeah.
They know what they're consuming.
Yeah. Also, these members have to be very clean, meaning they shouldn't have any scandals in their past.
We'll get to that.
There's no trashing hotel rooms.
No. And also in terms of their music, lyrics and stuff, love is the biggest topic. So they are never or should be never allowed, actually allowed to disclose a romantic relationship publicly. Because there's, especially with the boy bands, they have to be publicly available to any of their fans. They have a chance with them.
Right. Which totally worked for 6th grade me and Nick Carter.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And O-Town.
Was Nick Carter the get? Was it?
That was
He's the Justin Timberlake of the Backstreet Boys.
Right.
But he was
Or
the
so
gay
they
one?
thought. No.
No.
That's Lance Bass.
He was the blonde
Oh,
lead
Lance
one.
Bass. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also,
yeah.
congratulations to Lance Bass and his partner. They just
Yes.
welcomed their first
They
baby.
had twins.
Babies. Yeah, you're right. Twins. Fraternal boy-girl twins. Thank you, TikTok. It's the only reason I know that.
Oh.
Yeah. Good job.
Good for you, Lance.
We did it.
We did it.
We
You're
did
welcome,
it.
Lance.
My dreams are crushed, but congrats or whatever. Okay. So most K-pop bands nowadays are acronyms, so they don't need to be translated between different languages, which is another
Sure.
component of their globalization strategy.
Oh.
So if you notice, so we started with, I have to scroll back up to my how to pronounce this because I'm a horrible person. Scroll back up to the Seotaiji group, which is spelled Seotaiji, which is the full name of one of their members.
Yep.
So Seotaiji, it's not.
It's
It
their
doesn't.
name.
It doesn't roll off the tongue for a lot of people who aren't familiar with Korean names.
Uh-huh.
So now you have bands like BTS that really
Bind,
doesn't.
torture, sing. I assume.
How long have you been sitting on
Since
that?
okay, actually, I appreciate the ask because
I'm so glad you asked.
I'm so glad you asked.
you asked.
Last night, Bill and I took a soak in the hot tub outside, and then I took a shower. And I was like, oh my God, I really need to work on my notes. And a lot of working on my notes is just shower thoughts.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And in the shower, I audibly laughed to myself at bind, torture, sing. And then I was like, I got to remember to say
I
that tomorrow.
gotta use that's gold.
I'm so glad you said that.
I'm so glad you asked.
so good. That was good. That was fucking good.
It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
So stupid, but I love
I
it.
know. I love it too.
Okay, so bind, torture, sing is one example. EXO, or I think it's pronounced EXO, just in layman's terms.
XOXO, the wine and crime gals.
Got it.
EXO
Makes
have
sense.
two. Actually, this might apply. Have two members specifically designated to sing in Mandarin rather than Korean. So
Amazing.
Well, you know what?
XOXO.
You're gonna have a whole nother market for your music, and I love it.
Let's
we
do
will
it.
be releasing the Mandarin versions of this podcast
Yes.
in 2022.
That
So
would be
don't even worry.
Fucking amazing. I'd be so happy.
I would escape to South America with no forwarding address. Okay. So EXO, they have two members designated to sing in Mandarin rather than Korean. So they have two different versions of all of their songs.
Love it.
Which are
Wow.
EXO-M Mandarin or EXO-K Korean.
But you know what?
Amazing.
It is honestly just like fucking Justin Bieber and fucking Despacito.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
I mean, tons of
these are not
American.
unique.
Yeah.
These are not
No.
unique concepts.
Tons of
at
American
all.
artists do Spanish language albums.
Yeah.
Tons of them do it.
Yep.
Yep. And vice versa. Hello, Selena.
Yep. Oh,
Selena.
yeah. Well, Selena's, as we know
Also,
from that episode,
Hips don't lie.
Shakira. Selena was
Shakira.
not a
She didn't speak
raised
Spanish.
Spanish speaker.
No.
Really?
No.
No.
She learned it to tap into the Spanish market.
And she didn't even really speak it. She grew up speaking English.
Yeah.
She,
I didn't
know that.
You know, she
yeah. Well, you
I'm
did
sure
know
she-
that because we definitely talked about it. But
She was
on
like
that
more
episode.
conversational than fucking any of us are in
Yeah.
Spanish. But like she learned her early Spanish songs from her first Spanish album just like phonetically.
Yep.
Well, that is how a lot of people learn a second language,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, I just think this
Brilliant.
is interesting, like all this crossover linguistically, and it's not just for Asian languages. They do it in English and you know,
all
well,
over.
most
The band-
Super
English,
common.
Do you guys remember the band Phoenix?
Yeah.
Their first album or first like big album that hit was entirely in English, but they're French and
Yeah.
like their English is like really shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Like all
Oh
of their
my God, I
lyrics
forgot,
were
yeah.
like really kind of weird and off because they were singing in a language that they did not understand.
I remember that now.
Mhm.
Okay, so a lot, if not most, of these K-pop songs are also written by composers in the U.S. and Sweden,
Yes.
bringing along with them quite a lot of potential for genre mashup. So here's my ABBA example. This example being two Swedish composers writing a song originally for a U.S. group to be performed in English that was eventually performed by K-pop group Red Velvet, with a melodic throwback to ABBA.
Yes.
So basically, like, you know, this in Dancing Queen, it's like, and the lights are low. So that exact same callback, like a melodic callback, happens in this Red Velvet song,
which is probably
that happened to be
new.
written by the Swedish guys.
Yeah, because
love
I
it.
bet ABBA was not popular in Korea at the fucking time.
Yeah, so in Korean culture, that
So
was
it's
probably
brand
pretty
fucking new.
Like disco.
Well,
It's
I
like
mean,
how Gen Z is like getting all these kind of callbacks to 90s hip hop songs and they think they invented them.
Even if
Or
it's just a
wide
gener-
leg jeans.
even if it's just a generational thing, like kids who are listening to Red Velvet have not typically listened to ABBA. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about your like geographical
new to
location. It's new to them. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
But sometimes the mashing. Oh, what?
I was going to say the number of times that Zach will find out that a riff or something or a sample from one of his favorite like rap songs is actually like a classic song
Rock,
or like
yeah.
Motown
Oh, yeah.
song.
yeah, like
Ghetto
a rock,
superstar.
yeah, like exactly like anything like that. He's always just like so fucking shocked because I was always subjected to like my
The
mom's-
originals.
Yeah, exactly. Like my mom's music, quote unquote oldies, like anything from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. And he just wasn't. You know, like he just like only listened to hip hop. And so he's always just shocked. And I'm like, oh, that's a
Everything is derivative.
everything.
Everything. We are too
Everything.
old and the world is too old for any new ideas.
Yep.
Enjoy that and cry yourself to sleep.
Yep.
That
Everything
said,
is dust.
It's
Also,
always
soju
worth it.
is strong and I am already drunk.
That said, it's always worth it to go back and hear the originals because they're usually just as good, if not better,
Oh
than
my
whatever they
God.
ripped off
Usually
of.
fucking
Islands in the
fire.
stream, baby.
Ah, that is what you are.
Oh,
Yes, that is what you are.
I thought.
Coming from afar.
Okay, so moving on. Sometimes the mashing.
Ow.
If you guys couldn't tell,
Are you okay?
It was my headphones.
We're in episode 2, by the way. We're all a little bit turned.
But I scared that the owl was a
we
fear
recorded
reaction.
a thing before this thing, and we're doing great.
You guys, we're professional.
It's totally fine.
It's basically like a drunk dive, but an actual episode. If you think this is funny,
Join
you
our
should really join our
Patreon.
Patreon.
Well, I sure hope you liked that clip. If you did like that clip, make sure you are subscribing to our YouTube channel, leaving us a nice review, and joining us on Patreon for even more video content, audio content, salacious content all around. Come join us. Treat yourself.